This is a podcast.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast number 7. I'm your host, Dark One Dre. With us today, we've got Chaos Mana,
Hello.
Wubwave.
Hello.
Okay, I was just going to say, goddammit, he better not have dropped out just then. We did have Nobod, but he left and said he was going to be back, but he hasn't yet, so sorry Nobod, we miss you, love you lots, but not
It
really.
looks like he's nobody. Oh.
Yeah, and we have with us also Meta Legacy.
Yo. ...
Yes, very nice.
As normal. So what
And
we,
today we are going to be talking about the Skyrim dragons.
which are awesome to fight.
They're kind of retarded if you think about it, but yeah, they're awesome to fight.
This was the point
As
that
someone
I was making before we actually started recording this podcast, with how the dragons act when they're trying to destroy a town. They'll go and they'll chase after a goat, then they'll go chase after a bird, and then they'll come and land on someone's house and try and throw some flames to the villagers, and just kind of do it all over again. It's like they're the retarded offspring of some half-breeds that just decided to pretend to be dragons one day.
From the storyline that I've gotten to, aren't they like almost all dragons used to be extinct and they're being brought back by Aldun or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
That's pretty
So
much the
then,
entire
aren't they
quest.
technically just zombies?
They're like zombie dragons, I guess.
Their only zombie dragon I know of is one you can get from the Dawnguard DLC. His name is Durnavir.
That's a good name. Sounds sexy.
He literally has holes ripped in his wings. He drips some sort of green slime. He is the poster name for zombie dragons.
He does sound sexy, too. Sweet.
Yeah,
I never saw him drip
shout
anything.
The first 3 times you summon him.
What'd you say, Cass?
I've never seen him drip anything.
You have to get close to him.
You weren't looking close enough.
I guess so.
It'll make you blush when you see where he's dripping from.
Ignoring that.
Well, it's also neat how when you do summon him, that little skeletal other things, he has his own summoning as well.
Does he? I've not actually seen him in
Yeah,
in
if he
game.
gets into distress, he'll summon other things.
That's kind of a neat trick, I guess. I've not played any of the DLC for Skyrim yet. I want to actually,
I kind of compare it to you summoning Fluffy in for backup. I don't know.
I never summoned Fluffy in for backup. I'm badass enough I don't need her.
No one's gonna know what the fuck you're talking about.
She's just so, left alone. Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about our RP guild. Sorry, guys, who have no idea what we're talking about.
No, it's your real dog, remember?
Well, she's based on my dog Sis, her personality, who is a heinous bitch as it is.
Pretty much. That's
I'd
Fluffy.
be curious to actually meet that dog now.
Oh, she's quite evil. She'll sit there and she's smart enough to know when you're talking about her. You don't even have to say her name. You can just be talking about her, and you'll see her glancing at you from across the room with her ear cocked to the side. She's pretending not to pay attention, but she's giving you the side eye the entire time you're talking about her.
Nice.
Yes,
And she learned how to spell things too. We would try and mention treats or going outside or going somewhere, and without letting her know what we were doing, and so we would spell things out using letters. We're G-O-I-N-G-T-O-G-O.
Well, I mean, it's just learning a new sound. It still sounds the same.
No. It's not spelling just an individual word. We're going to go for a W-A-L-K, something like that. We'd actually spell out phrases, and she would know which one you were spelling out.
Smart dog.
She's way too smart for her own good.
Kind of like my cat. My cat can open doors.
Yeah, Sis never figured out how to open a door properly. She can open up a one of those latch type doors, where you grab onto it and pull down, but she can't twist a knob. Thank God.
Yeah.
But she figured out how
disaster.
to. Yeah, she figured out how to open other types of doors with her snout though. She's pretty good at that. She'll test it and see if she can get it open by poking with her nose, and if it gives, then she'll actually try and use her paws to undo the latch if she can.
My dog always.
That is an utterly terrifying dog.
Yeah, we had a couple friends from Ohio come up and visit us without telling us that they were dropping by, and
Hello.
yeah, and so
probably didn't turn out too well, did it?
So
well,
you promptly kicked them out.
We weren't home when they got home, and we had Sis locked in the back foyer, and they let themselves in the front door because they knew where our hide key was, and she started within the course of an hour that they were there that we were not, began chewing through the door, separating the back foyer to the rest of the house.
Oh,
and she'd actually chewed through enough of the door to get her head through, but still couldn't get the rest of her body through, and we had to actually replace that back door.
Oh my God!
Would she have just maimed them?
Yes, yes, she would have. And she was fine once we got there and let her out, and she knew who they were. She was fine, but they had also brought their other dog with them, Murphy. So there were two people in the house and another dog whom she'd only met once. And being locked in the back foyer, not knowing who it was, and being protective of her house, she was not going to stand for that.
That probably didn't end very well, did it?
Well, it was fine after we got back. We had a damaged door, but we weren't mad at our friends.
A damaged door? It looked like somebody punched a hole in it.
No, it looked worse than that because, it splintered the wood and everything down there at the bottom, so it was, chewed through with blood smeared all over it. It was pretty gross looking.
Oh, damn.
And now she's loaning.
So how big is it? Like, if it was standing, where would it come to at your leg?
She's only about knee height. She's a cattle dog, though, so she's built very sturdy. She can take a kick to the face from a cow and be fine.
Oh, boy.
And her teeth are abnormally large for a dog her size, too. She's got the teeth of something more like a...
Dragon?
Kind of, yeah. My mother always said she had alligator teeth. They're abnormally large.
Abnormally large and very scary looking.
Yeah. Well, I guess scary to anybody who would have to look at them and not know who she was. But yeah. As long as she knew you'd be fine. She actually bit through one of our friend's thumbnails. He just decided to grab her face and put his face right next to her. And James, don't do that.
Oh, dear.
Don't do that.
Hi, doggy.
He was a little bit drunk, and she bit right through his thumbnail and split it in half.
How?
Yeah.
Your dog is utterly demonic.
Kind of.
Do you still have her now?
Yeah, she's 15 or 16 now. She refuses to die.
Are you just...
I'm going to compare your dog to the wolves of Skyrim now.
Only she'll listen to us. She knows lots and lots of tricks. She knows the basics: sit, lay down, roll over, come. The sit pretty or beg, where she stands up on her hind paws. You can put something on her nose and tell her to wait for it, and then when you give her the okay sign, she'll snap it into the air and then catch it.
Wow.
Then you can cover her eyes and tell her that you're playing hide and seek with her, and slowly count to 5 while whoever it is that you want to hide. And as long as she knows who they are, like any member of our family, you can tell her to go find Thomas, which is me, or my sister Sonia, say, where's Sonia? And then she'll take off running around the house looking for where she's at. And usually she gets so excited she forgets to smell her out, so she'll just run from room to room looking, and then when she can't find her by looking, she'll start smelling her for where she's hiding.
That's cheating.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun, though, because she starts to get really stressed out, and she'll start whining and yipping until she figures out, I can smell where she's gone, and then go try and find her.
Really smart dog.
Yeah,
I wanted to teach her how to get
how to play cards
drinks
and
out of the refrigerator, but Mom wouldn't let me teach her how to open the refrigerator because she had this bad habit of she was not allowed to drink anything that someone had in their hand, or like if you set a cup or beer down on the ground, she was not allowed to drink it. She'd sniff at it, but she wasn't allowed to lick it or drink it. But she figured out that if she laid down next to said beverage and then knocked it over, she could then drink it off the carpet or off the floor.
oh boy.
So she's like, no, it's okay. It's on the floor now. It belongs to me. I didn't drink it out of the container. Like, you little bitch.
Did you have to put a lock on your fridge?
No, we never taught her how to open the refrigerator. I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
to, but my mom wouldn't let me.
Yeah,
I wanted to be able to tell her
I saw a
to...
YouTube video where a dog could open the fridge, fetch a beer for its owner, and then bring it back.
Yeah, I wanted to teach her how to do that, because she could have done it. Because you can ask her, like, if, you know, wherever you're at in the house, if you ask her if she wanted to go for a walk, and she did want to go for a walk, she'd get excited. You tell her to go get her leash, and we'd forget where her leash was. Because it just kind of... We normally put it somewhere in one of the, either the front or back foyer, but then it gets knocked down, covered in coats and whatever. But she always knew where her leash was, and she'd go find it and bring it to you.
Damn smart dog.
So, you're teaching a dog with razor-sharp teeth that chews through doors how to open doors and a bunch of other tricks so that it knows how to kill you in your sleep.
She
What
wouldn't
could go
kill me
wrong
in
with
my
that
sleep.
shit?
She loves me too much to want to do that.
That's what they all say. That's what that woman with the cat said before it ate her face.
No, cats are not the same as dogs.
Yeah, see, that's
Yeah.
what I was trying to explain to you earlier on the forums. Like, why would people?
You're trying to
think that-
explain that they're not the same animal? Yes, I know that. Thank you.
No. I was trying to explain that why some people think house cats are better than house dogs, which people have. It's almost universally known that cats are like very mean and
They're only
like,
mean
Well,
if they
it's not so
hate
much
you.
that they're mean. Cats are just very self-involved and self-interested, where dogs are social animals, so they're interested in you and what you want.
Yeah, so
That's why I
why
like
wouldn't
cats.
that?
They're
Why wouldn't that
self-involved.
qualify them for better animal?
Because
I wouldn't say-
self-involved animals are better.
I wouldn't say they're better. They're just different. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Just because you prefer one over the other doesn't mean
Well,
one's
no,
better than the other.
one's friendlier.
Well, some cats can be friendly. My grandmother, she has this awesome cat. My cousin found this cat at her school near a dumpster. Sickly little thing. Brought it home, nursed it back to health, and it's the clumsiest cat in the damn world. You can hear it coming when it's walking down the hallway because it kind of just paddles along and makes everything shake. It's a fat cat now, and it acts just like a damn dog. It's more graceful than a dog, like being able to hop up on the backs of stuff and kind of be graceful. It's still clumsy for a cat, but more graceful than a dog. But and it knows several different commands, like you can get it to come to you by talking to it, or my grandmother locks it up inside the dog's kennel. She's got this miniature pinscher and this little horrible looking poodle type dog named Lulu. And
Poodles, when angry, can be very aggressive. I know from experience.
Yeah, it pretends to be aggressive, but it doesn't actually bite. It's all bark and no bite. And it's so horribly ugly. So my grandmother tries to make it look cute by putting pink bows in its ugly little ratty hair, and it just makes it look worse. It's like an ogre wearing lipstick. It just doesn't work. But she'll tell it and the cat, the dog and the cat to go to.
Oh my god! I just got an image into my head of a sky Elder Scrolls orc wearing lipstick. Get it out.
How did that happen?
I can see it talking to you now with the giant teeth sticking out of its mouth. Don't you think I'm pretty? What was that orc from Oblivion that you had to help, and she kept calling herself Sir?
I don't know.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember who you're talking about, but I don't remember the name.
And you're like, but she'd say, no, I'm Sir, whatever her name is, and you're like, but you're a girl. She just didn't understand the concept that she shouldn't be called Sir.
That's a weird random waveform on my Audacity thing.
Your Audacity isn't fucking up, is it?
No, it's just like a weird little micro waveform. It was
Okay.
strange. I don't know what it was.
He's about to get indoctrinated right now.
Indoctrinated.
Hey, you never even... Oh, did you play Mass Effect, Doug, or am I thinking of someone else that never played Mass Effect?
I played and beat the first Mass Effect, but I haven't
Oh.
played the second or third.
You
Mass
should do
Effect
play
is
the
a great
second.
series.
Mass
I-
Effect
I-
2 is an awesome game.
I enjoyed
Mass
the
Effect 1 was meh.
storyline, but I did not enjoy the gameplay. That was the only problem.
That,
I really liked the storyline.
That's Mass
but
Effect 1's problem.
Mass
Mass
Effect,
Effect
is,
2
a great,
fixed all
Mass
that shit.
Effect is a great series, but Halo is much better.
Mass Effect
No.
1, I did not enjoy. I mean, it had so much points where I was just like, come on, get on with it, sort of thing. It was just so much more drawn out. They fixed
Yeah, and
everything
I had a
once
lot
they
of
got
trouble
to 2.
navigating through like the cities, the populated areas. Like I didn't know where I was supposed
Yeah,
to go.
that's exactly my point. That
Nice.
was the worst part, was just
All that
navigating
was
around on the
fixed in
Citadel.
Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, like that's
All
the
that
whole
was
reason
fixed in
why
Mass
I
Effect
wasn't
2.
eager to play the next Mass Effect, because I'm like,
It-
okay, I
it's-
enjoyed the
everything-
storyline, but damn, it was really hard to figure out where the fuck I was supposed to go.
Everything is completely fixed on the second one. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, when I finally get around to getting it, I'll be looking forward to that. You know this already. I really don't like third-person games either. Like, even if it's a really good storyline, the third-person perspective always
I'd
gives me
rather
a headache.
prefer third person.
I like the expanded field of vision, but just the way my eyes look at the screen, I get a migraine after a couple hours. of
Oh,
looking at
boy.
it. And I like to be able to
Third-
sit there and play for 6 or 7 hours without stopping. So only having the third-person view is not good for me.
Third-person games are better story-wise because you can actually see the character that...
No, that's not true, because you can easily, with a first-person game, when the talking starts, you can break that and go to a third-person view for the talking bits.
Well,
I guess, but
even
it's just
so,
not nearly as-
sometimes I wish I like it when a game gives you a choice to be
Yeah.
third or first person, because some people's playstyles are just simply different.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's true. That's
in-
something I really respect about the Elder Scrolls series. They
Yeah,
always
like
give you
in
that option.
Skyrim, I usually like to prefer to see myself from a third person, but if I'm doing something like looking through a house for an important item, I can switch to first person view and scan up and down because it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah,
Fallout does that too.
It's awesome. Well, Fallout's made by the same people.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Yeah, I know.
No,
the same engine.
that he's not in the podcast.
No, Bod, we apologized already. You can quit bitching now.
I didn't apologize. I want that to
He
be on
says
record.
he says he wants to join late.
But
No,
no,
you
it's
cannot
too,
join late.
It's too late.
You should not have left us if
But-
you really wanted to be on this podcast.
So why did they call the Far Cry 3 Skyrim with guns? If that's exactly what Fallout was.
No idea.
I have
Well-
not actually heard that comparison. Please enlighten me.
Well,
No,
Fallout
the-
is
it-
a lot different. It's not nearly like
Fallout
Skyrim.
is
with
not. It's not.
guns.
It has the exact same style
Yeah, I mean,
and
but as far
everything.
as,
The
like-
only difference is the story.
Well, no,
And
there's a lot of
it looks
different
like- time
things
period.
about it. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It looks like Skyrim looks like someone just dropped a couple nuclear bombs on Cyrodiil and let 20 years pass.
Yeah. I kind of
it's
like.
awesome.
I like Cyrodiil and Morrowind a bit better walking around. I noticed that it's a lot harder to climb up mountains. I remember in Morrowind, I was jumping all and like
Yeah.
completely.
That was awesome. You could jump
Hey,
over anything, even like something almost going straight. If you jumped hard enough, you could actually
Yeah,
shimmy
and,
your way
and
up
if
that
as you're
mountainside.
trying, you're like super increasing your acrobatics.
Yeah.
Dark, check the chat. Check the chat.
Check the chat. Wubwave. Why am I asking you, Dark?
That's Nobod, not me.
Yeah, sorry, no, bud.
Well, you think we all look alike, you racist.
Yeah, you two, yeah. There for a while, you both had the pony pictures up.
Sure, I did.
He's typing something. Hurry up and
Oh,
reply so he'll
God.
be quiet.
Yeah, I'm not waiting. Anyway, just ignore him. Wubwave, we're sorry. We're going to... Or Wubwave, sorry. Wubwave. No,
We're
Bod.
sorry, we're
No, Bod, we're
Jesus.
sorry. We're ignoring you.
Oh my god. That's just funny.
I'm not going to be able to live this one down now.
Probably
Permanently
not.
recorded on fucking podcast.
Doug
what-
Wondering
what,
thinks all white people look the same.
There.
Don't they?
Yeah, we do.
With your beady eyes and flapping heads?
I love how this evolved from a talk about Skyrim to moving on to Dog, then to pets in general. It's crazy here.
We don't actually have real set topics. We just talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
As with most good podcasts.
How about those politics?
No, let's talk about dating apps. That'd be more fun. You guys ever use any dating apps?
No, most of them are unreliable.
I figured, since we're all like geeks or
I can fail in
nerds here,
person on my own.
that you guys would have used a dating app by now.
Well, I don't really. I think that would be a little bit complicated for me. Oh, gosh, what is he doing here?
Oh no.
Really? You're going to ignore me? Fine. I'ma just listen you then. Yeah. The grammar Nazi just really screwed that up.
Yeah, I
Hey,
thought
no.
he was like this really strict one. It seems like his standards have laxed.
Yeah.
In the level 20 form, it said, "What's never, everyone?" I didn't even know what I was trying to type.
At least you.
oh.
Can, what?
I have a kind of a it's not really a funny story. It's kind of a sad story, I guess, as far as like dating apps go. There's this it's often used for dating, but not always. It's called grindr. And
I was gonna say, is it Grinder?
Yeah, mostly gay people just use it. And it's really handy if you go on vacation somewhere and you don't know anyone and you want to be shown around somewhere, places to hang out. You can just talk to people on there. But you also have the guys that just want to try and get with you. So I get on there sometimes. I've got friends that are on there, and it's sometimes I just feel like trying to turn it into a sport and see if I can just get someone to give me a dick picture or something like that. It's pretty easy most of the time, but there's this one guy that
Sounds like Facebook.
kind of, yeah, only with more dicks.
Is that their ad now?
Yeah, it's like Facebook, but with more dicks. So I got talking with this one guy. He seemed pretty normal, pretty chill, and just normal conversations like I would have with someone online. And he's like, "Yeah, you seem really nice." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm with somebody and all that." And then he just started wanting to just hang out at places. I'm like, I don't know. I've had a bad experience with hanging out with people that I've met on Grindr. I've made a few friends that I've met on Grindr, but usually it's just awkward. They have really strange lives. I'm like, okay, I'd be willing to meet up with you just to see if you're a sane person. And so I'm like, well, he had a picture of himself, but it wasn't a very clear picture. So I'm like, send me another picture of you. The one that you got is pretty fuzzy looking. So he sent me a picture of himself, and the dude looked scary as hell, like creepy scary. I'm like, yeah, no. Even though we've had perfectly normal conversations that don't make you out to be a creeper, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you anymore. And he tried texting back a couple other times, and I just ignored him, and it took him like a week before he just stopped bothering
Oh, you're
texting
so
me
mean.
back. I realized after that I was really a terrible person.
Once again, you're just now realizing this.
Like, I thought like I could be a little bit more sympathetic, but after that picture of the guy looking like a total creeper, I'm like, no.
I almost want to see that. If you still have that picture, just put it in the link then.
No, you can't download pictures from Grindr. That's you just can't do that for some reason. But yeah, it's like he wasn't even trying to make himself look good at all. When you take a picture to send to somebody, you want to try and at least look halfway presentable. But he had this weird looking face, and was just had this kind of blank expression. He looked like he could have been like a serial killer or something like that.
Well, yeah,
Holy shit.
that's one of the biggest problems is that there's no way to prove. You can get anyone's photo, so it's always a risky business meeting up with someone else. Because you never know if they could be he could have sent you a picture of Nobod, but really been that creepy guy.
That's why you always have to meet in public places. Every person I've ever met after meeting them online like that has always been in a public place, like at a restaurant or a movie theater or something like that, where if they do wind up being totally creepy, you can have plenty of people around to hide behind as they pull their knife out or gun out and try and kill you. Just safer that way.
Yeah,
You have to plan ahead for these things. You never know if someone's going to be one of those persons that wants to wear your skin for a jacket. So you have to plan ahead.
always a good idea to plan ahead.
Yeah, backup plan. And if that doesn't work, then
Backup plan?
backup plan.
Yes, I have a backup plan for my backup plan.
So that's very interesting. I thought more people online that have such active online lives would use dating apps more often. I'm kind of interested to know that.
Well, I
I
mean,
can fail in person.
this is just objective because I don't know. Would it be more because of your preferences that you would do it? Just because
could
it's
be.
not common?
That could be. Because I guess unless you know places to hang out, like at a gay bar or something like that, it would be more difficult to find a guy that you'd be interested in when most of the male population is straight or bi. So yeah, that could be why it's more prevalent within the gay community, because it's just harder to find someone you'd be interested in. That does make sense.
Yes, indeed.
It's like a virtual bar.
It also depends. I mean, some people would find it harder to really connect with anyone when they're just online. All you see is their picture.
Well, yeah, that's why you can't just have an online relationship. I learned that with my very first relationship. It was actually someone that I met on here on Rooster Teeth. I was with him for about 6 months. And it wasn't until I flew him out to Michigan with me and we hung out for a while that it's like after meeting him in person and spending a week with him and then going back to the whole online thing, it just didn't work. I realized, these long distance relationships where you exist mostly online, it's not good. It's not easy, and you just have a whole lot harder time connecting with them that way.
Well, so then how did you meet your current one?
I met Ken at one of our friends' house. Right after moving to North Carolina, I joined this club called M Club. It's short for Empowerment Club. It's for gays and lesbians, part of the LGBT community. And they do like meetups that they're real interesting. They sometimes just have cookouts at some places where you can sit around and talk to people. They'll go and do baseball somewhere, or they have what they call hear me out discussions, where everyone puts a topic into a hat and you pull that a topic out of the hat and everyone just talks about it. So it's interesting, and I thought moving to a new place would be a good way to meet other gay people, because I was like newly out of the closet at that point in time, and Ken and I actually became friends for a couple months. We knew each other for a couple months before we actually started dating. I met him in real life, and I met my ex before him. Same way, same group. But everyone else before that, I'd actually met online at different places, and then met them in person after that.
Well,
So from my experience, real life is the way to go.
Well, yeah, it is going to be
Normally,
interesting when you do see most of or some of us at RTX.
Well, I don't know, for me, voices have a lot to do with it. Now that I know what all you guys sound like, it's not going to be so weird. But, when you just see a picture of someone and then you just, send messages back and forth in text form, and then you actually hear them for the first time, you're like, wow, you don't sound the way I thought you would sound.
Well, depending on how good their mics are, that also would do it. Because I want to see if Webwave sounds like Webwave.
I do.
Do you really? How do we know
Yeah,
that
I
you
do.
sound like you?
Oh. Well, because...
Nobod is here in the background saying that he sounds like a beast. Happy now, Nobod. Happy now, Nobod. You sound like a beast. He says, I thought you would sound gay, Dark. No. I can't do the gay voice. We've established that.
You need to prove it for the podcast.
What? Try and do the gay voice?
Yeah.
Oh God, no.
I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to publicly humiliate myself a second time in this podcast.
Oh, you can just do it.
No, let's do it next podcast.
Aww. Well, that would be... You're gonna let all our millions and millions of listeners down.
All 35 of them. All 35 of our millions of listeners. I don't know if I...
Yes, I was about to say, I think you're flattering these podcasts a bit there.
Well, you know, you have to dream big.
All of podcasts have to start from somewhere. Some take off quicker than others.
Others just don't ever go anywhere.
You never know. I mean, the RT is a nice community.
The most important thing is to have fun.
Have fun. That's the whole reason we do these damn things. Like, I set aside every single, my entire Saturday afternoons for the last 7 weeks, just because these things are actually pretty fun to do. Doesn't matter if no one watches them. They're just fun to do.
Even with all the annoying problems that some people who forget headphones have.
Not naming any names here.
Shut up, you.
I don't understand why my mic's picking up everyone. I don't have headphones in. Doesn't make sense.
Duh. Idiot.
I was trying to offer, like, actual support, like, what type of input are you using? I didn't realize there was going to be no one had headphones.
Yes, Webwave's actually helpful.
Hey, there you go.
You're doing it
That was your
too.
first shout-out. Congratulations.
Unlike the rest of you.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
Means you suck.
You know exactly what I mean by that.
He
don't
means
think I do.
he means he's starting to get feelings for you.
I had no idea. I'm flattered.
I'm getting my shotgun.
And where are you going to put that shotgun?
I'm going to take a picture of him and put it with all his pony pics that he started downloading.
I will kill you all.
Aww. You're such
with
a
your
nice
shotgun.
meta.
How big is your shotgun? Is it a sawed-off or is it a full size? Come on, tell me about your shotgun.
I'm trying not
Talking
to
about dicks,
start
right?
laughing.
I'm sure you can do some really, really marvelous things with that shotgun. Come on, tell us about it. I want
Is it
to
a
hear the
pump
details.
action?
Oh, yeah, I'm picturing it now in my head. Pump action sawed-off shotgun. Yes. Yes.
You guys make fun of me even on here. Great.
No.
Can we talk
no.
about how 2D platformers are fucking bullshit? God damn it.
They are not bullshit. 2D
The
platformers
Horde.
are awesome.
They're fun, but the
which
hard,
one-
like, I'm playing Metroid right now and it's fun, but
It's just that one thing that I've noticed is the older games have also kind of some have been getting like slowly easier.
that's
Yeah,
because
this
there's
is
better
true.
replay value. Like, I can
They
play
have to
Mass
dumb 'em
Effect and
down.
have just as much fun on my second playthrough because I can do new shit. Unlike
they
in
have
the
to
old
dumb 'em
days, the only
down
way
for
you
the
had replay value
retards.
is to just make stuff super. God, fuck.
Well, so why would the 2D make any difference from 3D?
Because, well, I don't know if a 2D makes a difference, but I know that it's probably harder because it didn't have nearly as much replay value. Like, if Mario was easy, how are you going to play Mario?
That's not true, dude. My sister and I have beaten the 3 Donkey Kong Country games on the Super Nintendo, which are our 2D platformers, at least 6 times each. They've got great replay value. They're challenging, but not too challenging, and they got great music.
That's hard to
and-
find games that have the perfect balance in between being so challenging and not being challenging at all.
Yeah, most of the Mario games, the 2D versions of the Mario games are like that too, except for the first ones for the NES. Those were really hard.
Did
but
you ever
everything on
play
the Super-
Did you ever play the original Sonic when it came out?
I've never liked the Sonic games. I don't know why. There's just something about them that always just annoyed the hell out of me.
Go play Mega Man for the NES and kill yourself.
I
God, it's
tried
so
playing Mega
hard.
Man. I was
Dark-
never good at Mega Man, but my sister kicks ass at that game.
I
Dark,
spent
I think
17
the
minutes
reason
trying
you
to
don't
jump on a
like
platform.
Sonic is the fact that you use coins for health.
Could
You do
be.
too?
Yeah, the whole ring thing never made much
It
sense.
is a
And then when you
bit
bump into something,
annoying that it doesn't make a difference whether or not you have 1 or 101. You'll still, once you take damage, it'll all be gone.
Yeah, they all just pop out, and you have to try and gather all the rings back up. That was annoying too. Yeah, the whole setup just never made a lot of sense to me.
What about the 3D ones? I quite enjoy like Adventure and Adventure 2.
Again, I enjoyed the 3D renditions of Mario ever since the 64 onwards, but I could not get into Sonic even in 3D. And actually, from what I'm told from the fans of the game, the 3D versions of Sonic are the worst versions of the
Oh
game.
no, they're very. The only one which completely deserves all of the ridicule is the '06 one that they made, which was
06?
basically. Yeah, they were trying to do a remake of the series, like kind of give it a new appearance, but it was.
Was that the one where he could turn into a werewolf? Or
No, that one was
dog?
good too. I think it came after that. I'm not sure which
Which
one.
doesn't make any sense because were means man, and Sonic's not a man. He turned into a hedge wolf, not a man hog. So the whole name on that game that was just weird.
Well, it wasn't
The only thing
quite
I
a
know about-
werewolf. It was a dark infused being.
I considered him a blue orangutan.
He's got more in common with an orangutan. Yeah.
I mean,
And
did
God,
you did you see how huge those arms get, man?
Yeah.
They're very
disproportionately long.
stretchy. It's interesting how with a game like Sonic, even though there's like so many different games, it's like the story is kind of continuing but not. So they have so many different versions of it.
Yeah,
it's
like
ridiculous.
they try too hard to make it interesting when the game itself is pretty uninteresting. I don't know. I like the whole. This is what you're playing the game for. Even if it's simple, it's easy to remember. Like Donkey Kong Country, at the beginning, Donkey Kong gets his hoard of bananas stolen, and the whole game you're trying to get them back. In Mario, the princess gets stolen, you try and get her back. And it's like if you try and turn these more simple games like that into some sort of sweeping storyline epic, it just becomes silly. And like I get lost in it because I just start picking the whole thing apart. Like this is so silly. I don't want to play it anymore. Whereas if it just accepts what it is, it's a simple game that you're playing for the pure pleasure of playing it, regardless of how simple the storyline is, and I enjoy that a lot more.
Yeah.
Mario's The Princess is Another Castle thing that made me rage so many times.
It always made me laugh. I'm like, I bet she's not in this one either. And sure enough, when it turned out to be the little toad guy, like, your princess is another castle. I'm like, I knew it. I fucking knew she wasn't going to be here, cunt.
They should have just had one level
you
where she
proceeded
was
to
there
stab
and it
him.
like blew your mind.
I have a picture for that, but if I posted it online or on here, I'm pretty sure I'd get made fun of for it.
Probably. We would do our best to make fun of you.
Yes, I know.
It's because we love you so much.
Yes, indeed. I'm the lovable meat shield.
Mm-hmm. Well, not anymore. We have Shadow now, who's the new meat shield in the guild. So you've moved up one rung.
Wes continues to call me a meat shield.
Well, you'll always be a meat shield in our hearts. Don't worry.
Well, I like it how as soon as you did join, you just completely embraced that. Like, we wouldn't have been bringing it up as much if you didn't start it.
I know.
Yeah, this is true. You did. Yeah.
My character in World of Warcraft and in most games is essentially a health-laden meat shield that stands in front of everybody and absorbs damage after damage after damage.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
For most MMOs, I like to be the guy that's doing most of the damage behind the tank. but so I can also be the tank as well. I
I don't know
can't.
what I'm gonna be.
I can't.
Go ahead.
I couldn't be a healer. That would be annoying to have to depend on someone else doing all the fighting.
The tank.
Healing's great.
The tank is nothing without the healer in World of Warcraft or in most other games. I mean, you can't really work if you have a dead healer or a dead tank.
Healer's great because
Go ahead, Wobwave. Go ahead.
I was gonna say healer's great because you get to choose who lives and who dies. It's like when playing Killing Floor and like someone needs help and like a dick, you're like, oh yeah, look at me while I let you die. It's amazing.
Because if you touch him, you will not get back up again because he's the white mage.
The White Mage.
Yes, that's a reference to Dragon Ball Z Abridged to you who don't know.
No, yeah, Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're
Oh, how dare you!
How dare you!
Once again, the Abridged is much better than the original.
Yeah, you know,
series.
after hearing you guys talk about it, I am interested in seeing the bridged version. I just could not watch the show because you'd have an entire, 25-minute episode of these guys floating in the air going "Rah!" at each other and doing absolutely nothing. It was
fact in Dragon Ball Z, shouting makes you stronger.
It was so fucking irritating.
Do you know the one fact that I heard from somewhere that some of the voice actors were screaming so long that they actually passed out?
You know, that doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me much either.
And especially when you have the poor guys that have to do the voice acting for the animes. You know, they're like the bottom of the barrel as far as voice actors go. So they have to give it their all.
Well, I mean, I enjoy it, especially the guy that does Vegeta. I think that's definitely one of the really good ones.
Samuel L. Jackson was a voice in an anime. You calling him bottom rung?
The mainstream anime doesn't count.
Or does it?
No, it doesn't. There's very few animes make it to mainstream like that, and they're the only ones that gather like real celebrity voices.
There's one anime that's really good, Hellsing Ultimate. It's not very famous though.
No, I've never heard of it.
I think there's like an RP for it that you're in, aren't you?
Yes, and War Boss is in it too.
Is Warboss actually active in that RP?
Yes,
I noticed the log says he is.
Wait, it shows activity in RP groups now?
It's a forum. It's not a group.
Oh. Got it.
Just
look for RP-Hellsing Ultimate.
Nah, I'm not interested. I feel like I didn't listen to our last podcast, but I was thinking about it like a few days later, and I think we might have been a little bit harsh on the fat people during our last podcast.
That was the podcast before that.
Was it the podcast before,
Yeah.
not the last one?
No. That's when you talked a lot about
No,
Morrowind,
it's
so
not.
I
It's
skipped
not.
that
It's
shit.
not harsh at all, from what I remember. Because, I remember, what we said is, if you are fat, it's completely your own fault. Usually, it's like less than 1% of people who, it's unfortunate, but they can't control it. That's what we said.
Don't apologize for
But-
anything.
I apologize for nothing.
Okay, he apologized.
Who apologized?
You
What?
apologized.
I apologize
Chaos
for nothing.
Exactly, you apologized for nothing.
Fuck you. But in any event, I was just wanting to see what you guys thought. So I'm like, I was trying to explain it to one of my coworkers what our last topic was, because they were asking me about the podcast, and I was trying to explain it, and the guy's like, "Wow, this sounds pretty harsh." I'm like, I don't remember it being harsh, but I wanted to see what you guys thought.
I don't think
were
we've
we
been
being
actually
no.
that harsh. I mean, we're mostly just discussing
dicks,
stuff. We
but
haven't
we're
gotten
fine
into an
with it.
official argument or anything like too crazy.
Yeah, well, this isn't the
can.
Pointless Arguing Thread podcast. This is the Forum Thread podcast.
They get crazy on some of the forums, and I'm just like, I'll just sit
Dude,
back
the
here
MLP
for now.
The MLP forum is like always a battle somewhere.
I can't.
How does that
look at
even
the
make
MLB
sense?
thing.
Let me
One,
guess.
one thing
Art,
that I don't
let me
understand.
guess. What's your favorite pony?
No, dude, it gets like all personal and shit. It's awful.
No.
It's not
I
awful,
wonder
it's awesome.
about that concerning that show. It seems like most of the ideals that are represented by that show, if you found them in any other material, any like a movie or a show, you would call it like cheesy, and no one would watch it and stuff.
You haven't even
Yeah.
seen it. You don't know what you're talking about.
But if it's in this show, for some reason, this is the only
Just
show
got a
that
little
it's
quiet. Why did you
acceptable
get a
to
little
have.
Oh, okay.
This
I
type
thought
of
I
stuff.
got disconnected. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it works though. It works well for this show. I think that's the one reason why this show is so popular, because the writing team knows how cheesy their material actually is, and so they embrace it with a sense of kind of a self parody in a way, and with enough humor that you can tell that they're making fun of it themselves while actually giving a pretty good message for the original targeted audience, for the children that watch it. So I can respect that. I like there's one episode where they actually had Pinkie Pie turn her face into one of the older generations of ponies, and they all reacted really horribly to it. I thought that was a really clever nod to how horrible the old series were.
There was a lot of shit in the 80s that was bad. It was,
Yeah.
It was that long ago.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'm dead.
80s and early 90s, I think.
Yeah, there was a lot of shitty cartoons in the 80s. Go back and watch Thundercats.
Oh my god.
Thundercats would have been okay if it were not for Snarf.
Thundercats, ho!
And
That's a-
He-Man,
like-
too. That was another one.
Yeah.
Oh, can we sing Hey, Hey, Hey? Whatever. Have you seen that video?
Hey, yay.
Yay, yay. Yeah.
I don't know what
OTX.
you're talking about.
Don't you even dare.
Oh, that was a really fun.
What? I feel left out. What are we talking about?
I don't-
There was this one.
I'm not
don't
going to
wanna
open my
know.
tab because it's
I
going
do
to kill
want
my
to know.
internet.
Tell me.
It's amazing. It's like the best video on the internet. Watch it like 12 times a day.
You're a little bit
Best.
obsessive, Wubs, so that is not going to get me to watch it.
That's
Just
true.
summarize it. Summarize it.
Well, it was this kind of music video too. I don't know what the song is called, but it was like the "What's Going On" song, and it was a whole bunch of clips from the He-Man thing to make it look like he was singing it, and it was really, really well done. And the funny thing was, it made him sound all girly and such.
Well, if you look at the outfit,
Well, I mean,
Not,
he has a
not very
deep.
surprising there.
I think he and what's the villain's name? Skeleton.
Yeah, that
Skeletor.
skeleton guy
Skeletor.
was in the song too.
Yeah, I think the two of them were actually like lovers at some point in time, and then they had a lovers tiff, and that's how they became nemesis. Nemesis. What's plural for nemesis?
The Messiah.
I don't know.
The
Do you know what's weird?
nemesi.
Like viruses, the plural for viruses is, well, viruses. But for like octopus,
I can't hear
it's
you, Wubs.
octopi.
You're breaking up. Talk
Oh,
louder.
okay. Nah, it's a stupid point anyway. As soon as I started speaking, I was like, ah, this is fucking dumb.
The plural for radishes. What were you saying?
Radish.
Radishes.
Radishes, no, virus.
Do you guys watch Phineas and Ferb?
No.
Yes.
I love that show. There's weird,
like-
talking about weird plural nouns. There's this one episode where Candace was trying to figure out how to say what the plural for moose. It's like,
Mises?
There's mooses or meese or mises. She couldn't figure out what the plural for moose was.
Yeah, if two gooses are geese, then why aren't two moose meese?
Mises.
It's
Look at
just
all
because
those
of
Mises.
the randomness of the English language. There's
Good
so many
point. Yeah.
strange rules sometimes.
It's because the poor English, they kept on being conquered over and over and over again, and they were forced to adopt the different languages of their conquerors, and so the languages kept getting more and more fucked up as the years went on.
it's half Latin, half Germanic, right?
Yeah,
Big time.
I think it's more Germanic than it is Latin, though.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of like Latin prefixes and suffixes.
This is true. This is true. And then some rules that just don't make any sense whatsoever. And have
Name one.
you guys seen that video of what the English language sounds like to foreigners?
No.
No.
It's got this couple that are sitting down or making dinner and sitting down for dinner together and having a conversation, but the conversation is all gibberish. But it sounds like you're trying when you're listening to it and you know the English language, you're trying to make sense of what they're saying. And it's like you get the idea that they're talking about something they've seen on the news, and then like they start arguing and fighting with the stuff that they're saying. And it's funny, but at the same time, it's like, wow, our language is actually kind of an ugly sounding language.
Well, how
It's not as
would you
bad
be
as-
able to tell? I mean, it's not English what they're saying, is it?
It sounds like English. Like whoever put this together, it was professionally done, and it sounds like English. And if you know our language, you're trying to pick out the words that they're saying, but it's impossible to. But you realize since you can't understand them, you're just listening to it phonetically. That our language is actually kind of an ugly sounding language. It's not as bad as German, I don't think, but it's kind of cringeworthy. Not like French, which is.
I mean, I don't really see
smooth.
how it is, but I have no idea how it sounds to other people. I definitely like how wide of a range in accents you get.
Yeah, well, you get that anywhere with any language that's large enough. You get the different dialects for it. Like you have English, then you have American English, then you have American Southern English.
Then you
have-
got Canadian English.
British, Australian.
Yeah, Australian English. It's
You-
really fascinating. And then can't forget ghetto English.
You guys don't want to hear Japanese English. It sounds so broken.
My boyfriend is half Japanese. I've heard it. He speaks English just fine, but he's told me plenty about his parents being foreigners, and yeah.
Oh,
He
dear.
calls it pidgin. It's not an actual language. It's what he calls pidgin.
Oh my god.
And apparently, they have this bad habit of not being able to just say whatever it is that they want to say. They have to explain to you how they came about their thought process of what they wanted to say. So instead of saying, "I saw this on the news today, and this is what it went," so they want to say, "Well, I was thinking about this, and then this happened, and then I turned on the news, and I saw this, and I started thinking about this, so then I decided to ask this." It's like they have to explain their thought process behind asking a question instead of just coming right out and asking. It's
We lost
very
Wops.
strange. Wubwave,
There
you
he
will
is.
be mourned.
He's back.
Oh, he's back
Am I
from the
back?
dead.
Okay,
It's
good.
zombie Wubwave. He's alive
As
again.
long as he's not dropped out the recording or anything.
Yeah, are you still recording?
No, I
Is your
can.
audio fucked
Yeah, I
up
continued recording. I just muted my mic when I was cursing, so there you go.
now? Wubwave.
Awkward
Hello.
silence is awkward.
Awkward.
Is that your catchphrase there?
It is now.
No, blarg is my catchphrase.
Honk. Yep, he's gone again. Oh well. I was kind of sad when the alien in Red vs. Blue kind of just stopped appearing in the episodes.
Yeah, I miss Crunchbite.
I was a fan of him. I liked his blarg.
I like the fact that he's kept beating up on Tucker and eventually impregnated him.
That was awesome.
That was.
Is that where you completely got the idea for everything?
That's where Wes got the idea for being impregnated in the guild, because he had just finished watching, what was that, season 5 or season 6? I think it was season 5 of Red vs. Blue, where Tucker got impregnated.
You can't park that here. Is when the kid finally came into this world.
Yeah, he's like, blarg chicka blarg honk. He's like, that's my boy.
Did you teach him that? You can't teach that. That's genetic.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was that. Yeah, that was like my favorite character, the pinnacle of Red versus Blue for me at that point in time. Like, yes, this is awesome. This show just reached a new level of awesome, and it's changed a lot since then too. And I've appreciated where it's gone since then, but it doesn't have the same flavor as it used to, and that kind of makes me sad a little bit.
Yeah, it's more action now than comedy, but it's still got its funny moments.
Yeah. Oh, and I really like the new like the animation sequences that they have now with the battles. The big improvement.
Yeah,
It's
and it's firmly implanting into our minds you don't fuck with the freelancers.
I
Yeah, it's
wish
kind of hard to.
they apparently they're going to drop the story. I wish they went a little bit more because like I mean you could technically even go further back than that. Like they also skipped major portions of stuff that was happening.
And I
You,
swear to God, Meta is still alive.
I mean
Probably.
even though like I just now realized that apparently Carolina had a grappling hook. Like if you pause the frame when she was thrown off, she had a grappling hook in her hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, getting pulled off into an ocean, that's not gonna just instantly destroy him. I mean, he's strong enough to rip apart a car. I think he can tear off a hook.
He got. Let me see here. He was stabbed with an energy sword. He took several. He took several shotgun blasts point blank. He was stabbed by Wash. He got beaten up by Tex, and he still kept coming back.
And
Yeah,
he had
he's
all,
a bit of a badass.
and he had all this other equipment.
I just was sad that his character was kind of underdeveloped. I thought.
Yeah, just growls.
I wanted to know. I so wanted to know more about him. I'm like this character. He's an interesting enough character. He's got a bit of mystery to him, but like I wanted to know more about why he is the way he is.
Yeah, I was
never
kind of a
got
bit
that.
disappointed that it just went from Sigma being introduced to him already taking it. I think they kind of skipped. They could have probably even divided up all the information that was in season 10 and put it into season 11, season 11 because they just kind of went from here this happens. Okay, now well, a bunch later on, then this happens, and then all of a sudden the freelancers are fighting each other on teams and trying to take over the ship. Like it was just kind of such a big jump for that.
Maybe it'll explain it in season 11 a
For
little
the
bit better.
for the last few seasons, every episode 10 has been a episode where Tex beats the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
That's something that like I'm glad they were able to do now, with how how much of a badass that was supposed to be, and how much they talk about all the shit that she did, with just having the head bobs up and down. It was really hard to actually sell the fact that she was as much of a badass as she was, and like being able to get to see her in action was pretty rewarding.
Yes, and it just makes you continue the fact that you don't fuck with Tex. And I like the description they had of Meta when they were talking about Tex. They said, Tex, yeah, well, this thing is like 8 of her.
Yeah, so that's another reason why it doesn't make sense to just send him off a cliff and then that's it. I mean, what I was so hoping for is at the end of the credits of season 10, you just see a hand.
Yeah,
That would have been it. Then that would have been the happiest person ever.
Just see a white armored hand, bam, with the growl, then the credits.
They could still bring him back. I mean, they're not going to go off. They said they're not doing any more of the freelancer story, but that does not mean that they can't just have him in the future. They're just not going to go back in the past.
That's true. I didn't really care much about the freelancer story personally.
I like the freelancer story because it gets really emotional at the end. Some manly tears were shed when Carolina confronted the director, and we find out Carolina is the daughter. It gets really emotional.
Yeah, I can get that, but I don't know. I just
Was I the only
was
one
not
who?
able
This is actually the second time I've watched through the series, but I actually teared up a bit when Meta made that kind of scream as he was going over the cliff.
Yeah. As inhuman as that scream was, it just makes me want to say no.
No, do the Darth Vader from Episode 3 scream? No!
Crushing everything in the room.
That was such a horrible movie. I'm so glad Disney.
Oh,
now
it
has
wasn't
rights
that
to it.
bad. Goodness.
It was fucking horrible.
No,
Don't even try to defend it.
It was a great movie. It had when I saw it in the theaters, it was completely amazing. I mean,
No.
I just do not understand why the entire Star Wars community does not like it. It doesn't make any sense. It was a nice movie. I mean, pick exactly what's wrong with it. Just
Everything.
that
pretty
doesn't
much.
that doesn't help. That doesn't help
like
your
the
case in
acting-
proving it that it's bad.
The acting was really below par on that one. The script was also not very good. The action sequences were sloppy. The main character, who the whole thing with Darth Vader, it's like I couldn't give two shits about him. He was an arrogant dick, and I didn't understand why any of the other characters cared about him. Why Padme was so intent on trying to
Bring him back from the dark side.
Yeah, when they didn't, in episode 2, when she sees him for the first time after not seeing him for so long, it's like, they didn't even have a real romance. Everything felt so staged, so set up. There was no emotion behind the whole thing. The whole thing was just like visual effects and action, but there was no human emotion and depth behind any of it.
Well, I still would watch them more, probably even more than the originals.
So that's what I'm hoping. What I'm hoping for with the new version is with the stuff that Disney's been able to put out, despite the fact that they are in a way kind of a giant evil corporation, when they have something that has a huge fan base, they usually try and please their fans so they can milk as much money out of it as they can. They learned their lesson with all those damn sequels to shit that they were putting out for those last 10 years, and then promised they wouldn't do it again. Like Little Mermaid 1, 2, and 3, Cinderella 2 and 3, Aladdin 2 and 3, and all those other unnecessary sequels. And after that, they've actually been putting out some pretty good stuff, especially their live action stuff. So I have hopes. They're not very high, but I do have hopes for the future of the Star Wars franchise.
There's only one series in Disney that I really hope they'll continue for a while, and that's Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, I think we talked about this.
Yes, we did.
They're going to. They do have the 5th one greenlit.
You don't.
I really hope it's
You don't fuck with Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, actually, they were planning on making a 5th one much sooner, but Depp said, "No, we don't want to. We're not going to rush this," and he refused to actually reprise the role until enough time had passed, which I find commendable on his part.
Yeah, you do need a bit of a break.
Yeah,
But they better, if
Johnny's a
they're
really
going
good
to
actor.
take a break, it better be a good movie to make up for that. Otherwise, it just, doesn't really.
It just makes you want to say, "We waited for this." Seriously.
Yeah, I've got no doubts that it will be a good movie because, well, the whole character of Jack Sparrow was completely made up and contrary to the script of the original movie. Like, Depp literally pulled that character out of his ass, and they just decided to roll with it.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
It's like, yeah, there's a reason why he's in so much stuff.
And them expanding on the story in the next 2 movies, just showing how he did all this shit, it was crazy.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean will always have a special place in my heart.
Reserved for the comedic side, I hope.
Comedic, and even from the more serious points of the storyline, what few points there were.
Yeah,
I think it did a pretty good job with that too.
I really like the whole Davy Jones story. He's one of my favorite characters of the movie.
He's a real badass, but he's got that soft side story that just makes you want to give him a hug.
Yeah, and when you realize that, because first you're kind of rooting for Tia Dalma, and then you realize that she's Calypso, and that he waited for her for, was it 7 years of not being able to see her, and then on the chance that he would get to see her, she wasn't there.
10 years I
10
did
years,
the
yeah.
duty.
he waited for 10 years doing the duty that she and bestowed upon him, and then she wasn't there. I'm like, holy shit! No wonder the guy is crushed.
You
It's like-
want that.
Yeah, and then
Now,
she's like,
now
"Would you
every
still
time
love
I
me
see
if
the
were
guy
running
that
away?"
was the model for him, like I just hear Davy Jones. Like he
Oh,
was
I
in
know.
I think it was in Harry Potter 7.
Did you guys see the part during World's End where Tia touched him and he turned back to his old self?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, so that's what he really looks like. He looks like a badass in either form.
and I loved that when Davy Jones was first revealed, that people thought that it was actual makeup on him and not CG.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good the CGI was in that.
Yeah,
that-
I love it that I can't, like, some movies, it's so obvious, and
Yes.
it just kind of completely ruins the experience. With that, with Davy Jones and the whole, it was just such a good put together movie. All three of them are. I definitely watch them over and over.
Yeah, that's one thing that has, and also one of the reasons why I'm really have high hopes for the Star Wars franchise too in Disney's hands, because like with these live action movies, they try and make the visual effects as believable as they can, and like with Pirates, even with the first one with the skeletons, even though it's not aged as well, they were the best looking visual effects at the time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I remember just completely being blown away. Like, wow, these things, the skeletons, they look pretty damn real.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Thinking-
I was shocked at that when they first turned into the skeletons, and
Yes.
and Barbossa, or however you pronounce his name.
Captain Barbossa.
Yeah, he
Best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
he drank the rum and it just poured down his open rib cage. I was blown away. I was disgusted. I was amazed, all at the same time.
That scene, the liquid in that scene, is one of the few things wrong with the first movie. The liquid in the simulation of the liquid wasn't quite real
Yeah.
enough.
well,
And
I didn't really notice because
It's a little bit off if you watch it, and the some of the fabric simulations on the skeleton versions of the crew are a little bit off, but the skeletons themselves and the tendons that are still on their face, all the movement is very believable. It's just like the fabric simulations that are the telltale signs that it's CG. The rest is so well done that it's still almost impossible to tell.
Yeah, they could really be zombies, and we would never know it.
They could have been real. They could have just added the fabric simulations to make it look CG, but they could have actually been real.
Yes, indeed. Now I want to hunt for that treasure chest.
But what would that feel like to be walking underwater and such?
I imagine it feels kind of like walking around naked with the breeze blowing between your legs.
No,
Only
well, to basically
it'll be blowing through your rib cage instead.
to be in a situation where if you were regular, you wouldn't survive. To just walk along the sea for that long,
Yeah.
and to have your hands separated and still moving.
That was pretty funny.
Zombie monkey.
It's like, look, it's an undead monkey. Top that.
Yep.
The payment is fair.
The payment
Then-
is fat.
We do this far too often on the forums. We break into Pirates of the Caribbean quotes for like, hours at a time.
Why is the rum always gone?
Oh, that's why. Oh, God, I need to watch those movies again.
Yes.
I actually don't have the fourth movie. I own the first three, but I never bought the fourth movie. I need to get the
I
fourth
haven't
movie.
bought the fourth one either.
Put
Like,
it.
I think-
put it
I
away,
think we
mate.
said
It's
this,
not fair getting you beat over again. You ignore the rules of fair engagement. If it was a fair fight, I would have killed you. That's not much
that's
incentive for
much
me to fight fair, is it then? Jack is sarcastic, funny, and awesome at the same time.
Well, it's not so much sarcasm. He says everything with such genuine honesty. That's the endearing part. Like, if anyone else would say it, it would sound sarcastic. But the way he sells it, it's like he's so genuine the way he says it. Like he's trying to explain to you why.
I tell the truth a lot, but yet everyone is always surprised.
Yeah. It's like, you mean he was telling the truth? It's like, what are you doing here? And no lies.
I said no lie.
I think he was telling the truth.
Well, if it was the truth, he wouldn't have told it.
Unless he knew you wouldn't believe the truth, even if he told it to you.
Those two are fucking hilarious.
Okay. Oh, dude. We are over our. We're going on an hour and 11 minutes. So let's wrap this thing up. So we can go on. I can go on about Pirates of the Caribbean in quotes for a couple more hours if they let us.
Yes.
That might be fun. And before we go, I will say...
Oh, yes, here we go. Go ahead.
Send any questions or whatever you feel like.
You need to sound more peppy. That's why no one sends us anything, because you don't sell that shit. Come on.
You must send all your questions and other things. Send them to the forum thread at yahoo.com. Yes, please, we'd very much enjoy that.
That is the forum thread at yahoo.com. We're looking forward to reading your questions and answering them in the order that they are received, unless they are shit. Then we will...
Well, actually, I'll take any questions at this point.
Oh, come on. Are our standards really that low?
For questions,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, they kind of are.
And I have a feeling you would answer most of the questions, so it's a win-win.
I would do my best. Okay, how about this? This will really get them going. Okay, the first person to send us a question, Meta will suck you off. You'll get Meta sucking you off.
And
if
let's
you give us a question.
let's end right there without him replying.
Next, I will kill you.
Thanks
I
for
will
listening,
end
everybody.
you.
Peace out.